Now, the recent recommendation by the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence to purchase 2 new presidential aircraft has sparked widespread debate. But critics argue that the acquisition is insensitive given the country's current economic challenges. But supporters maintain that the purchase is a necessity rather than a luxury and crucial for the effective functioning of the presidency. Joining me now is the chairman of the House Committee on National Security, Honorable Ahmad Satomi. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.
Apparently, in this discussion, or discuss if you like, your name has, been very prominent as the sponsor or the mover of this particular motion. Exactly why has it become such a priority that there's a new presidential fleet should be procured for the president and his vice? Because Nigerians are saying this cannot be priority. Nigeria cannot afford it at this time.
Thank you very much. Actually, it was a quest for investigation of what happens when Mr. President travels for an official engagement to Saudi Arabia. Then we were told that he even boarded on a chartered flight from Holland back, and then you are aware what happens to the vice president. 1 hour airborne, and his flight has to recall back to base. And then that's what makes the House to go into an investigation. But unfortunately for us to discover that even the presidential aircraft, the 737, was out of the country for total overhaul and maintenance. And then the vice president is using the Air Force 2, which is the backup aircraft for the president, G55, Gulfstream, right. 13 years old. And it will interest you to know that the president's aircraft, the 001, is 20 years old aircraft. And it's against the operation of the presidential fleet that once they have the aircraft reach 20 years, and then it's subject to disbursement. So in the quest of our investigation, we realized that the amount the presidency is spending in maintaining such aircraft is huge. It's over getting closer to 20 billion per annum, which is very difficult. 20 billion naira for maintenance.
To maintain the presidential
and then
fleet of about 6 aircraft?
6 aircraft, only 3 are serviceable out of the 6. Only 3 are serviceable. So as I'm speaking to you currently, the president's aircraft has no backed-off aircraft. It's only G55. For instance, if the president will travel from here to America, which means he will travel bare-seated. No any luxury. G55 is just a 14-seater aircraft that, is the business class in other commercial airlines are even more luxurious and then afford luxurious and entertaining than the rest. So therefore, I think we feel it necessary. The president's aircraft, the 01, is out of maintenance because the insurances, the guarantees, and then a lot of programs, the MS Gold program on the engines, after 20 years, they can no longer guarantee that. The parts is not something that you can get it easily because it's out of the range that, they will maintain such kind of aircraft. So that's what necessitates looking at Nigerians' position in West Africa, in Africa, and globally. And we deem it necessary that we need to get one, even for symbolize Nigeria as a nation in the league.
How much of a strong consideration is that, just to symbolize the fact that Nigeria is, the big brother of Africa, and our president should look better than every other president on the African continent. But how much of a consideration really is that? Back to the question of priority. But let's talk about the other 3 aircraft, 4 Augusta 189s. No information on the condition of this, particular 4 189s.
Out of these 6,
yes,
the 2 are serviceable. 3 are serviceable currently. Right. And then 3 are non-serviceable.
So if the 3 are serviceable, yes. Sorry, if 3 are serviceable, why are they not serviced and maintained you know, to global standards, that the president and the vice president can still fly.
That's why he's on the check now, the 737.
Right.
Yes, he's on the check. Even though it's serviceable, it has to go to a routine check, C check or whatever check that they normally used to do. And then the G5, but G5 is a long-range aircraft, yes, G55, but still without a backtop. And it's the same aircraft that the vice president was using that drops from a certain altitude to about 10,000 square kilometers. From the information I received from the commandant, it's scary. Right. And then its oxygen marks even drop down. And then, you know, it's not that something easy. And that's why we gave them that option, approval.
Now,
they should scout. And mind you, buying aircraft can be outright, can be on lease purchase, can be on dry purchase. It depends for the security of a nation. So
you're looking at other options apart from
we just gave them
outright.
The approval. It's now left for them to decide on whatever they want to get the aircraft. But aircraft is not something that you have a choice to go and buy outright. But you have also a choice to buy it on lease purchase, dry purchase, whatever you want to do. But it depends on the company and what you are getting. Availability also matters, and the opportunity at times.
Are you aware that it does take a while for, you know, between when you order and the delivery of the aircraft? If indeed this scales through, it will take a while.
Yes,
as much as 3 years, as much as 8 years in some cases.
Of course.
Right.
Yes, but it depends on how lucky you are. You may get it available in stock. You may get it, some people deposit their money, but they didn't take it, then they will refurbish it to your test. And then what we are proposing is for us to get something that the president will even walk while traveling, while on transit, that he can engage a lot of diplomatic mission. The Ivonics matters, where he will communicate on what is happening on the ground and the rest. So
where will the funding come from? Is this even budgeted for at all? Where do you plan to get funding from if it's approved?
It's approved, you know, the appropriation is coming very soon. So it's for them to scout for whatever they want to do and then present it to the National Assembly in the coming budget.
Right, because we're hearing some of the figures that are being bandied out there, some as high as about 900 billion. And I'm wondering, I mean, is this an exaggeration?
It's an exaggeration.
Have you looked at the cost?
It's an exaggeration.
Right.
It's an exaggeration.
Because I want to believe that in coming up with this recommendation, you would have crossed the T's and dotted the I's in terms of what, you know, the financial layout, you know, for Nigeria, what it will cost the average taxpayer to ensure that the president flies top-notch, you know, presidential fleet.
You know, as a parliamentarian, what we are presenting for them is the approval and the recommendation we give them. It's now up to them to work out what's the requirement of the president and present it to us. And then for budgetary implementation, whatever, they will scout it. And then engagement, you know, you said it just now that it will take a while depending on the availability. What if they went and there is an opportunity of an availability? At least we can put our hand on it that, yes, we are interested with item A. Then pending subsequently, because an aircraft is something that you will get it, but it will continue on a program. The engines are all maintained. The camo, the Ivonics, all are going to be maintained by companies and competent expertise, where they will monitor and give all the requirement as a camo to give feedback to the system of the Ivonics.
And I'm wondering if you even investigated why this aircraft, you know, have been unserviceable. Is it as a result of poor maintenance culture, which unfortunately seems to be, you know, well, maintenance is not exactly one of our strong points in this part. But have you looked at that? And then we looked at it, I think, the commanding officer is one of the honest officers I ever met, Air Marshal Olusonya, because what he was saying is that, for instance, a money budgeted in the 2023 appropriation, you know, the benchmark of the dollar, and everything on aircraft is dollarized. Right. So basically, if we appropriate 10 billion for the maintenance, before they will get a release and something, that money, you know, inflation, effects and the rest, the money will come down to even and half. So these are some of the reasons they gave the nitty-gritties. And then we asked them, okay, dispose those that, you know, cannot be used, and so that we'll have something on ground that you make commitment even before the release, so that the manufacturers or the rebuilding of the internals, interiors of the aircraft to the presidential standard will commence. So I think they have made several advertisements on the Falcon F7 and then the other old Falcon.
I think, and they have some offers, which I know the NSA, but they wrote to us that they cannot even afford for now to even bargain for the second one. They can only do that of the president, and the other one will also remain as a backup, because this is also part of the recommendations. Because basically the vice president has no aircraft. What they told us as a culture is the backup of the president's aircraft that the VP is using. In an absence of the Air Force One, the Air Force 2 will be the Air Force 1.
So you're hoping to get this as soon as possible? As
soon as possible, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah. Ahmad Satomi is Chairman House Committee on National Security. Thank you.